Look like a complete idiot when I do that, by the way. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Let's get Instagram on here. We're going live there. We're live on X. We're live on YouTube. Thank you very much for being here. Top of the morning to everybody. Cup of Joe right in front of me. Look at that steam coming up. We are not messing around this morning. That's a nice steam right there. It's when you know you're off to a good start. When that steam is just in the background, you got piping hot coffee ready to go. Thursday, November 14th, 8 a.m. on the dot. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out here. If you were hanging out with me last night for the Lakers postgame show, well, then, damn, you are freaking committed. I'm sick of myself. The fact that you guys are back here, I appreciate that, whether you were there or not. Thank you for being here this morning. We got a lot to get into on this Thursday. This week's kind of flying. Not going to lie here. Week's kind of flying. I almost didn't. I'll be honest with everybody this morning. Let's take a second here. Let's take a quick second before we get the engine going. You know, they say turn on your car. Wait about 5 minutes before you start driving. I need a couple of minutes here before I get started with all my topics. This morning kind of slept through the alarm. Not gonna lie here. Went to sleep a little bit late. I set my alarm. 5:20 is my wake up call. But 5:20, it's a very strategic time because I'm basically going to hit snooze at 5:20, snooze at 5:30. I'm up at 5:40. I'm out the house by 6:00, and we're working our way here to Solana. Okay. Yeah, it was like 6:15 when I got up. I had no idea what was going on. I know I hit the first snooze, and I don't know what happened after that. Next thing I look, it looks like it was noon outside. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Where am I? But I made it. I want everybody to know I made it. I made it on time. Got my topics ready to go. Got a lot of things that we're going to be doing today. So we almost didn't have Sliwa today. Or maybe I would have just gone live in my car on my cell phone. By the way, that might get me more views. Not going to lie. Top of the morning to everybody here. Just to give everybody a quick idea what we're going to be doing this morning. I'm going to spend some time talking about Dalton Knecht and why he is so important to this Lakers team. I know that kind of sounds a little crazy, but I think his role is becoming more and more important, so we're going to spend some time on that. Current Laker contracts, I kind of been promoting this for the last couple of days since Trevor Lane came on with me earlier in the week. Was Trevor Lane on Friday or Monday? No, that was on Monday. Since Trevor Lane was with me on Monday, it was I haven't got a chance to go back to it, so I want to get into some of the Laker contracts that we like, contracts that we don't, which is naturally going to weave me into a conversation about Rob Pelinka. Get Laker fans' thoughts of how Rob Pelinka has done so far as the president of basketball operations for the Lakers. He's got some big decisions coming up here by the time you get to the trade deadline, so I think that's a perfect topic to get into. Roki Sasaki, you guys ever heard of him? He's a pitcher in Japan. Let's just say he's getting a lot of love right now. A lot of articles on Roki Sasaki. There was an article in The Athletic that makes a case. I actually more want to get your guys' opinion on this because we did this yesterday, and then this article came out this morning when I did the show yesterday with Doug McCain about how being on a team with Shohei Ohtani and Yoshinobu Yamamoto, how that might hurt their chances of getting him. I don't know what the hell to believe, but we'll certainly get into that. I'm going to make a pitch today to, I don't care if you're on here and you're a Padre fan or if you're a Dodger fan. That part really doesn't mean anything to me. It's more Walker Buehler, and I keep hearing the conversations with the Dodgers and not 100% sure if he's going to get an offer from them. If he does, what kind of deal that he can make. I think Walker Buehler is a little bit of the missing piece that could help the San Diego Padres. If I'm the Padres, I'm going to go try to make a run at Walker Buehler. If everybody's only offering this guy a one-year deal, maybe San Diego could come in and try to get this guy, and they're probably going to have to overpay for him. Peter Seidler, former owner of the Padres, passed away 1 year ago today, so I want to talk a little bit about that. And then I got some other random topics I'm going to get into. Wemby had 50 points yesterday. That's the next game that the Lakers have. So there's a lot of other stuff to get on there as well. Okay, so a couple things here that I'll mention. So I am usually when I do a show, I am it depends if whether I'm going to bring a guest on or not. This week, we got stacked up with guests, and they were awesome. All of them were really good. Trevor Lane is one of my favorite guys to have a conversation with about Lakers basketball. Michael Thompson was nice enough to join me on Tuesday. Wednesday, yesterday, was Doug McCain. Obviously, we're talking a lot of Dodgers baseball. With all that being said, today's no guest. And today actually kind of allows me, I got to be honest, sometimes I need like a breather from a guest so I could get into a little bit deeper of topics. I could spend a little time with you guys, a little bit more time. It's tough to do that with a guest. So no guest today. The guest today is going to be Alan Sliwa. I don't know if you guys have heard of him. I don't trust him personally. I heard he has an unbelievable jumper. Unbelievable jumper. Top of the key, might as well call him Reggie Sliwa. Ray, Sliwa, Curry, Clay. It's the same thing. All of that is the same thing. But no guest today, so we're going to get into it. Real quick here. I know a lot of people like doing this in the morning. Little good morning from everybody. Somebody saying you're late, Slee. I was not late. I really was not late. I could have been late. Just in case, people are already saying God bless you if I do end up sneezing. 7-4 Los Angeles Lakers. Best morning show in SoCal. I appreciate that very much. Thank you very much for that compliment right there. Where's the Cup of Joe? Cup of Joe is right here, Oz. All right, let's get right into it. Last night, Lakers were playing the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, I got to be honest with everybody. If I'm going to start the show, I need to be real about this Lakers team here, and you guys can give me your thoughts on this. Here's what I can't figure out so far with the Lakers. Are the Lakers a 7-4 team in the Western Conference, off to a really good start, and this is just the team that they are? Or are they just an okay team and have got a little fortunate with, Ja Morant not in the lineup yesterday? Desmond Bane, twice now, the Lakers have played the Grizzlies. He hasn't been in the lineup. The Philadelphia 76ers, they faced no Joel Embiid, no Tyrese Maxey. It really doesn't matter because that's just going to be part of the NBA. But a lot of these games, since they started their season out 3-0, it really hasn't been that impressive of basketball. I have not watched the Lakers yet in this stretch over these last 7 games or so, 8 games or so. I haven't watched since they went 3-0. I haven't watched and said to myself, damn, that is just good basketball from beginning to end. Lakers are playing solid basketball. A lot of it has been, all right, you beat the Raptors twice. Okay, you got blown out by some of these teams. The Cleveland Cavaliers, the Pistons kind of handed it to the Lakers out of nowhere on that road trip. They're 5-0 now overall. At the end of the day, you just got to stack up wins, period. I don't care how they come, just stack them up. And for this Lakers team, that's very, very important. It's very important because I don't know what the Lakers are going to be 40 games in or 60 games in, or there are going to be times where, hey, LeBron's got to take a couple of days off, or AD is going to have some type of injury. We've seen that before. It could be a small injury, nothing big or anything like that, but just he's got to miss a couple of games as the season progresses. And they have to stack up wins in order to kind of you want to have a little bit in your reserve. Rather, the Lakers over these last couple of years, they get off to a bad start, and then they have to finish basically on this unbelievable run so that when, you get close to the playoffs, they're a part of the play-in tournament, or they're the number 7 seed instead of the number 10 seed and have to win 2 in a row just to get in the playoffs. So I think it's a positive thing that the Lakers start out the season 7-4, however they got there. But I'm not 100% sure what the team is yet. And I think, first off, I don't think 11 games you're ever going to be able to tell what kind of team this is. Need at least 20 to start figuring out, all right, I got a little bit of an idea what this team is. Here are their strengths. Here are their weaknesses. They have had some games where I think last night is a perfect example. They just look very average. And for some reason, I don't know if it's because Ja Morant's not there and Desmond Bane's not there. Are they just going through the motions? And then when they feel like they need to turn it on, they turn it on. I don't have an answer to that. I don't have a solution to it. I think as we continue to watch Lakers basketball, I do think that's something to keep in mind. But they did win yesterday. They are 7-4. And that is a pretty good start for the Lakers. If I'd have told you through the first 11 games they're going to be 7-4, I would take it. They got a game coming up against the San Antonio Spurs are better. They're much better than they've been in the past. I think Spurs now are 6-6, so it's not a gimme coming up tomorrow. Saturday, they got the Pelicans coming up. I think if you can walk away from those two games, listen, if they win both, amazing, you're 9-4. If they split those two games, they lose against the Spurs, but they end up beating the Pelicans, and they're 8-5, still a really good record. I'll take that. But I'm still trying to figure out what this Lakers team is, and I don't know 100% what they are just yet. That's going to come over time. Here's what I do know. I know that last night we watched Dalton Knecht, and we watch him had a real impact on a Lakers W. When I was doing the post-game show yesterday, right here on this channel, when I was doing the post-game show yesterday, I talked about how I thought Dalton Knecht won the Lakers that game. And if you want to make an argument a different way, go ahead, feel free to. But right when I jumped on the post-game, Mike Trudell was interviewing Dalton Knecht, so I put that up right away. That was on Spectrum Sportsnet. And then I immediately started giving him all the praise. And there's a couple reasons why I'm giving him the praise. And what I want to spend more time on Dalton Knecht, talking about how the Lakers are going to rely on him and how he is needed to have an impact on this team rather than he just had one good game. But we'll kind of mix those two together. When Knecht contributed last night, it was at a time where the Lakers, it felt like crypto had no energy. It was at a time where Anthony Davis was in foul trouble. It was at a time where there just didn't seem to be any pop or any, Lakers just seemed to be running through the motions. Knecht hits a couple of threes. He ends up going 5 for 5 from the three-point line. He had a nice fadeaway jumper when the Lakers needed it. I felt like Dalton Knecht ignited the Lakers yesterday. He certainly got the crowd going. I mean, you're going to ask Laker fans who are there on a Wednesday night against the Memphis Grizzlies without Ja Morant, they're going to want their reasons of why, they want to get excited and they want to feel good about what the game is going on. Go take a rookie that everybody's excited about. But I think to start off the season, there's a little bit of pump the brakes. All right, this guy's got to get accustomed to it. Why can't Knecht? Why isn't he hitting his shots? You could look at it from a couple different angles. Knecht had it going yesterday, and it was phenomenal to watch. It was great to watch, and it wasn't one of those, he just got lucky for a night. No, I think Dalton Knecht, I think he could be this player on a consistent basis. Last night, he played 31 minutes for the Lakers. He was 5 of 5 from the three-point line. He was 7 of 8 from the field. He was a plus 17 in the plus minus, which was the highest of anybody on the Lakers yesterday. I didn't look at Memphis, but I'm assuming the highest plus minus of anyone that played yesterday. Yep, the highest plus minus. His 19 points and his threes came at a critical time in a critical situation. Dalton Knecht, to me, I think as this season, progresses, I think the Lakers are going to lean more and more on him to be a contributing factor. If before the season started, people were talking about Max Christie, like myself and a lot of other people, that conversation is kind of over for now. And I don't know how much that's going to change as the season progresses. But I mentioned this. When I went to my first game this year, it was against the Sacramento Kings, third game of the year. And I saw Dalton Knecht and Max Christie were both warming up together, and they were on, one side of the court. And the whole time that I'm watching, in my head, I'm like, I have zero interest in taking video of Max Christie. I just want to see Dalton Knecht. And it's no disrespect to Max Christie, but it was just my allure of seeing what is Knecht? Is this guy, is he overhyped? Can he make it happen? Can the Lakers actually depend on him? He played 31 minutes yesterday, and D'Angelo only played 20 minutes. So I think that says a lot right there as well, that I think the Lakers and JJ Redick are riding the hot hand. And here's the part of it that is not fair to Dalton Knecht, but I'm going to put a little bit of this pressure on his shoulders. They need him. I mean, they kind of, desperate is too strong of a word, but last night he was in that game. He played 31 minutes, not because JJ Redick was doing the sign of the cross and praying that something good happens. You couldn't take him out of the game. He was having too much impact in the game to take him out. Who are you going to take Dalton Knecht out for yesterday? Anthony Davis is sitting on the pine. Lakers are struggling. There's no energy in the arena. Memphis is trying to run up and down, and you got all this youth that represents the Grizzlies. You couldn't take Dalton Knecht out of the game yesterday. He's a rookie, number 17 pick for the Lakers. and he's playing in his 11th game in the regular season in the NBA, and it would have been idiotic to take him out of the game. So just seeing him on both sides of the floor, seeing him active, seeing him doing what he was doing, it's exciting. It's exciting to see what he was doing. I'm gonna read you guys a quote real quick after the game. JJ Redick after the game says that Dalton Knecht was the catalyst for our comeback. So basically, I think he had a similar feeling to me, and I think a lot of Laker fans who were watching this as well. There was a lot of, yeah, they won that game because of that stretch Knecht had. LeBron post game, we leaned on Dalton Knecht. That's what we did. AD got into foul trouble, and our first round pick hit a hot streak. He looked like he was back at Tennessee, so we leaned on him. I just tried to sprinkle in a couple of plays here and there. And that's coming from a guy that had a triple-double last night, his third straight triple-double, 35, 14, and 12. And LeBron is saying, yeah, we went ahead and leaned on our 23-year-old Dalton Knecht, who's played in the NBA for 11 games. If that's not a freaking compliment, I don't know what a compliment is. I don't want to kiss Dalton Knecht's ass too much here, but I'm trying to just give him praise. But I think bigger picture, the point that I'm trying to make is they are going to depend on him as the season progresses. And now I think as his confidence grows, as his comfort level grows, will he be able to deliver for the Lakers on a consistent basis? Does he become one of those players where it's like, yeah, well, of course he played 28 minutes or 30 minutes a night. Yeah, of course he was in the lineup towards the end of the game. That's going to be part of his progression. And I'm very curious to see how it goes. And I will tell you this from a coaching perspective, I don't think JJ Redick will hesitate to play this guy 30 minutes if he's doing what he's doing. And certainly last night was, obviously a great sign. Is he going to do it every night? No. But can he have a big impact on this Lakers season? I think he can. All right, let me look at some of your guys' comments here as we get going. Why did Pelinka give Christie a contract extension? When we're done with this, we're going to go into some of the Laker contracts that they have, and I want to spend some time talking about Rob Pelinka and get Laker fans' thoughts on Rob Pelinka. All right, let's see what we got here. Knecht is more talented than Kyle Korver. Oh, this one is Knecht is Korver. Let me tell you guys something about how do I put this here? Let me tell you guys a little something about there's certain players that are just primarily shooters. JJ Redick is a good example. JJ Redick was, hey, I'm gonna come off a screen, hit me at the right time, throw the ball right at my chest, and I'm gonna fire one away from 22 feet. I'm a sniper. That's not Dalton Knecht. And that's a compliment because I think a lot of these shooters that are in the NBA or that are in college or, players like myself that come off a double screen, step back 22-footer, keep the hand up in the air. You guys know what I'm talking about. But players like that, they're one-dimensional. Dalton Knecht's not one-dimensional. And I think that's the main point that I try to get across when you talk about Dalton Knecht. The guy can create for himself. The guy can take you off the dribble. The guy can come off a screen and hit a three. The guy can get to the basket. That's not JJ Redick, Kyle Korver, some of these guys that you're talking about. That's all those guys do is come off a screen and hit a 22, 23-footer. Dalton Knecht's got a lot more to his game than that. So I almost think that we're cutting Dalton Knecht short if we just say he's a spot-up shooter. He's not, and I think he'll continue to prove that. Dalton Knecht steal of the draft. Let's see what we got here. Let's keep looking at a couple of these. Didn't count on a 40-year-old LeBron carrying the team all year. Other guys got to pitch in on a more consistent basis. We're going to get into that. Yeah, listen, I'm with you. I was looking at LeBron's stats the last 3 games. Absurd what this guy's doing. By the way, he's dropping dimes, 16 assists, 14 assists, 12 assists like it's nothing. That part is obviously incredible. But that's not going to be your recipe 30 games from now, 40 games from now. You're going to need more help. That's why the Pelinka pressure, I think, is going to continue to mount. All right, let's see what else we have here. Knecht filled up the stats last night. Knecht 31 minutes, D'Lo 20 minutes. Hey, if something's working, then go to it. And if Dalton Knecht is working, then go to it. Again, the one thing I have liked about JJ Redick so far this year, he's not apologetic. I don't think JJ Redick, first off, he's not going anywhere, so it's not like his job is on the line or anything. I dig the whole, you know what, D'Lo's not working in the starting lineup, sit him right here. You know what, Rui's not having a good game, fine, I'll put somebody else in. I dig I don't owe you guys anything. I'm going to try to win a basketball game, and if that takes me pulling you out of the lineup or making a change, then I'm going to make that change, and that's what obviously what he was doing yesterday, and I think that's what he's done after the first maybe 6, 7, 8 games. I'm seeing a little bit more of that from that perspective. Okay, I want to keep going here. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Still got some good mornings here. Welcome. Let's look at some of these Laker contracts here, because I was having a great conversation with my brother, with nice conversation with Trevor Lane a couple days ago. Trevor Lane was on here on Monday, and something Trevor Lane said, I'm going to pop this up together so we can look at it together. Something Trevor Lane said that I guess I just hadn't really been thinking about. And Trevor, who lives, breathes, and dies Lakers basketball, and is, obviously talking about it all the time, for me, it kind of slapped me across the face when he said it. We were talking about certain contracts, and we were talking about this Lakers roster. So let me share the screen here real quick with everybody. By the way, just a quick reminder, if you guys don't mind doing this, basically I've been told by my bosses, which is Alan Slewa, that I really need to do a better job telling people to like and subscribe to the channel. So if you don't mind doing that right now, I would greatly appreciate that. Just past 26,000 subscribers. We're going to keep building this channel. And not going to lie, I'm really, really, really enjoying doing what I'm doing right now on YouTube. But I can use your help and support just by subscribing to the channel and hitting that like button. Okay, this is the Laker contracts right now. If I went through each one of these and I threw the question to Laker fans out there, what contract do you think is a good contract? What contract do you think is not advantageous to the Lakers? You can all think whatever the hell you want about LeBron James. That man is still underpaid in his 22nd year in the NBA. He is. I mean, just obviously what he brings to the table, put the business side to it, he's box office, but put all that to the side. Let's look at some of these Laker contracts. LeBron, we don't need to talk about. Contract makes sense. Anthony Davis, hell, for all we know, AD, by the time this year is all said and done, if he doesn't win MVP, maybe he's a top 3 candidate or something like that. We don't have to worry about Anthony Davis. This is where I think it starts getting interesting with these Laker contracts. D'Angelo Russell, simply put, is not holding his weight so far this year for the Lakers, period. There's no really other way to mix the words here. He's not. And if the biggest asset D'Angelo Russell is to your team is that his contract is expiring, then that tells you that that player is not as valuable as you need him to be. If one of the main talking points right now about D'Angelo Russell is about trading him, then that tells you what his value is. So D'Angelo Russell is a great example of somebody right now within these contracts, and as we kind of analyze what Rob Pelinka has put together, and if Rob Pelinka is doing a great job or Rob Pelinka is doing average job or Rob Pelinka is doing a poor job, you can kind of highlight these with some of the contracts that are out there. D'Angelo Russell, I don't want to hear anybody making a case that that's a good contract. What it is it's an expiring contract, so at least it's not on your books for multiple years. Rui Hachimura. Do you guys believe Rui Hachimura is living up to his end of the bargain of that 50, what did he get? 17 a year. I want to say $54 million contract. I don't think he is. I don't think he's consistent enough. I don't think he's doing enough. And I'd really, really like to see what Rui Hachimura was able to do yesterday, where you felt his impact. He had 7 rebounds. He was kind of all over the place on both sides of the floor. That's the Rui Hachimura you look for. And I'm not telling you he's got to drop 25 a night. I'm just saying that you want that impact on a more consistent basis. Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves seems like a value contract right now. $13 million, $14 million next year. And then I think this is a player option for that $15 million. That sounds like a value contract to me. Austin Reeves is the third best player on this Lakers team. And I think the Lakers, again, their money's worth for Austin Reeves, and he's there on a consistent basis. Gabe Vincent, not worth it. Jared Vanderbilt, I hope he's worth it. I just never see Jared Vanderbilt on the floor. Max Christie, definitely not worth it up to this point. It's early. He's young. Can he turn things around? It's the first year of his 4-year contract. No question about it. That could all change. Today, as we sit here, Max Christie and Alan Slewa played the same amount of minutes yesterday. We played the same amount of minutes yesterday. Jalen Hood-Schifino, good contract or bad contract? The Lakers already decided they're not picking up his contract next year, and he's going to become an unrestricted free agent. They already told you that that's not a good contract. They already told you that that's a wasted pick. Keep going. Dalton Knecht, badass. Christian Wood, Cam Reddish, and Jackson Hayes all fall into the exact same category. They all had player options in their second year, which was this year, and they all picked up their player option, which means no other team out there was willing to give them more than what the Lakers were getting. I think you know the definition there. The point that I'm trying to make is after the obvious ones, LeBron and Anthony Davis, I think Austin Reeves is really the only value contract that the Lakers have after that. You can make a case for Vando. I'm a fan of Vando's game. The problem is he hasn't been on the floor. You can make the Dalton Knecht thing is a no question about it. There's value there. But every other piece that the Lakers have, you got to stop for a second there. You got to really, really stop and think to yourself, well, what the hell is this roster? I mean, where are the other pieces that are incredibly important? Where are the other pieces that contribute to this Lakers team? Where are the other value pieces that are out there? And, you know, this kind of takes me to my next conversation, which is about Rob Pelinka. I'm going to throw this question out, and I really, really I genuinely want to get the opinion of Laker fans out there. What do you think of Rob Pelinka? Now, if the knee-jerk reaction is going to be, oh, you know, this guy can't make a trade, he's terrible, he's awful, I want to give everybody a quick reminder. He had a big piece to do with a championship that the Lakers had in 2020. So you can't just pretend that that doesn't exist. He was a part of that team. He was a part of that roster. Lakers did win a championship in 2020. He was also part of the roster where he made all those moves. Remember when he traded for D'Lo, he traded for Rui, he traded for Jared Vanderbilt. He made all those moves right before the trade deadline about a year and a half ago, and Lakers got to the Western Conference Finals. Now, you can have your opinion on the Western Conference Finals. You could say, yeah, but the Lakers got swept. You could say whatever you want. You could say the path that they got there, they got lucky because they played Memphis, who was beat up. They played a Warriors team that they were going to, Warriors just didn't have the size. You can make all the excuses that you want to how they got there. But on his resume as a president of basketball operations, he has a championship in 2020, and he also has a Western Conference Finals appearance in 2023. Yeah, 2023. Those are on his resume. So you can't talk about Rob Pelinka and criticize him without knowing that those are two things that he accomplished. Here's my problem with Rob Pelinka. Here are my issues with Rob Pelinka. He has not done a good job of rounding up the rest of the roster. And I think the contracts that I just went through right now is a great example. There were moves he's made, and I know a lot of Laker fans are going to mention this, and it's completely fair. Why did you make such a shakeup in 2020 after you won an NBA championship? Why were there so many players that were not re-signed? Okay, you went out and got Dennis Schroeder. I thought that was going to be a good, obviously a good addition. Montrezl Harrell came on the team. Marc Gasol was on the team. They made pretty significant changes to the players around LeBron and Anthony Davis, and it ended up, certainly costing the Lakers making a run. He traded for Russell Westbrook. And however, whatever your thoughts there and say, oh, well, that was LeBron, that was this. You're the president of basketball operations. You're the one that will have the final say, or at least will go back to ownership and say, guys, I really don't think we should do this. And they should take your opinion on that. And I think the current roster that the Lakers have, what will hurt them more than anything else is going to be their lack of depth, their bench. Um, Most teams in the NBA, go look at the Warriors right now. They're playing 10, 11 deep. Go look at the Dallas Mavericks. Go look at how many different players they have that they can swap in. And once they get healthy as well, they're not fully healthy. They're the Oklahoma City Thunder. Go see what they did in the offseason. That's the portion for me where I think Rob Pelinka, I think the obvious ones he's been able to do, but not enough kind of, wow, that's a genius move from Pelinka. Wow, that trade right there is the difference of the Lakers just being in the play-in tournament to potentially get into the Western Conference Finals. We need to see, and I think this upcoming, trade deadline, I don't want to hear any excuses. I saw this article. Dave McMenamin obviously covers the Lakers NBA. I'm not sure what this piece was, but I felt like it was in defense of Rob Pelinka. And let me read here a little piece of what he said here. So, and McMenamin, listen, he'll go at the Lakers. He'll compliment them. I'm a fan of his work and certainly what he's done as far as his reporting. But the piece basically says that it may not be the fault of Rob Pelinka for where the Lakers are right now, that other teams are shutting out the Lakers as they make calls around the league. Here's the exact piece of it. Dating back to last season's trade deadline, the Lakers front office has been met with more closed doors when canvassing the league for trade opportunities, sources tell ESPN. It's hard to tell whether that is because the Lakers roster is seen as undesirable by other teams or because of LA's reluctance to offer future draft picks and compromise its post-LeBron future, or because the CBA has limited activity with teams either already stuck above the second apron or dreadfully avoiding it. The Lakers still consider adding front court depth behind Anthony Davis and Jackson Hayes. Talked about, potentially going out there and trying to get a guy like Brook Lopez or Jonas Valanciunas. I've seen those reports out there. That sounds like an excuse to me, because the trade deadline last year saw the Dallas Mavericks make really smart, intelligent moves to get them to the NBA Finals. The Oklahoma City Thunder went out this past offseason and got Alex Caruso and Isaiah Hartenstein. And, Hartenstein they just signed, but Caruso was the player that they went out and made a trade for. I don't want to hear excuses for Rob Pelinka. I really don't. And what I don't want to hear is, there's teams don't want to make a deal with the Lakers. Figure it out. It's the Lakers. That's kind of what this franchise have always done. Do you think back in the days Jerry West was saying, you know what? Teams don't want to make a move with me. I just can't make a move. You think Dr. Jerry Buss was sitting back and saying, geez, a lot of teams don't want to see the Lakers have success. Guys, let's sit this one out. They've sat out the last year and a half of making a move to improve the roster. You can't do that again. I mean, there's this year, and I'm going to keep emphasizing this, as we get closer to this trade deadline, either this Lakers team will just make no noise in the playoffs because they didn't make a deal. When I say no noise, what do I mean? Maybe win a round. Everything kind of has to go their way. Or go do what your job is. And for a year and a half, you've sat on the sidelines and you hadn't made a move. I don't think they can afford. If they go into the postseason at some point with this roster, they got a lot of limitations and they don't have depth. And I don't think that's going to be enough. You're going to depend on your 23-year-old Dalton Knecht to come through every single night. That's not going to happen. Clearly, guys like Gabe Vincent and Max Christie, these guys, you can't rely on a night in, night out basis. I got no idea when Vando's coming back. D'Angelo Russell is the definition of hot and cold. Which player is going to show up on any given night? So, that would be my overall thoughts on Pelinka. That'd be my overall thoughts on kind of where this team is sitting right now. All right, let's get to some of your comments here. Pelinka, best move was when he made all those moves before the Lakers got to the Western Conference Finals. Traded away Russell Westbrook and obviously tried kind of taking one piece and what do they say? It's like cashing in $1 for 4 quarters or something along those lines. Rob failed listening to LeBron. You could listen to LeBron, but at the end of the day, you got to also be the one that understands that the criticism is going to come on your shoulders. It's not going to come on Rob Pelinka, or it's not going to come on LeBron's shoulders. And even if he does, LeBron could just point and be like, yeah, that's the president of basketball operations. Pelinka doesn't do anything. He tore that championship team apart for no reason. There's a lot of people. I feel like there's a lot of people that definitely have an opinion specifically on Rob Pelinka. He did build that 2020 team. Give credit where credit's due. Give credit where credit's due. All right, let's see what here. I saw something here. Sliwa didn't want to talk about Bronny's contract. Want to talk about Bronny contract? I'll talk about Bronny contract. That was like basically baked into LeBron's contract. They basically said, hey, we're going to give LeBron $100 million. Let's give LeBron $108 million, and 8 of that will be cut to the other member of the James family. After years of incompetence and wasting AD LeBron prime years, Sliwa can finally be objectively critical of Pelinka. My brother, if you listen to me when I was on radio in LA, I had no problem being critical. I never understood that. Why wouldn't you be critical? Why wouldn't you just, if you want to criticize, just go ahead and criticize? There's a respectful way of doing it. There's a way of doing it stylistically, where you're being a professional. But how are you supposed to do what I do and not be critical when there are times where you're supposed to be critical? I don't think you can do it, or you lose a lot of your credibility. So that's impossible. That's not going to happen. Okay. That's most of the Lakers stuff that I had. And as we keep going on the show today, I will go back. I'll kind of look a little bit at I'll look a little bit at some of these comments here, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I want to go back to something that I was talking about yesterday with Doug McCain. So I'm going to switch gears here a little bit. I'm going to go a little bit of a Dodger baseball conversation here. I got a couple things on the Padres, so something to keep in mind. If you have Laker comments or Laker thoughts, go ahead and throw them in, and then I will, obviously continue to read some of these comments as we go along. So yesterday, I got a chance to have Doug McCain on, and we're talking about Roki Sasaki, who, man, has this guy not just completely dominated the news when it comes to baseball? He has. I mean, to be honest with you, I feel like I'm hearing more about Roki Sasaki than I am about Juan Soto, just to use the other big name. That's an example there. There was an article in The Athletic this morning, Jim Bowden. I'm going to read you guys the front of the article. Actually, you know what? Let's share the screen here. Sharing is caring, guys. Let's get you guys in on this as well. Granted, I'm the one that pays monthly for The Athletic, and I'm letting you guys in on this article. Basically, you all owe me $2. Everybody watching right now owes me $2 because of my Athletic membership that I have. $2 from all of you guys, or I'm not going to scroll down. Okay, I won't scroll down. I'm going to do exactly like all these articles do, where basically they just give you the title, and then they're like, yeah, why don't you go ahead and give us a couple bucks a month? Why Roki Sasaki, the top prospect with ace upside, isn't necessarily destined for the Dodgers? Yesterday, we were talking a little bit about this, and this is the argument that's being made for why Roki Sasaki would not sign with the Dodgers. And the argument being made more than anything else, I'm going to kind of scroll down a little bit here to get into what that argument is. Most of the argument is talking about how if he came to the Dodgers, Roki Sasaki is coming on a very, very discounted deal for a number of different reasons. I won't get into all of them, but it's kind of very similar to when Ohtani came and joined the Angels. He wasn't getting paid $60 million a year or $40 million a year, whatever the case is. So he is going to be under a incredibly controlled contract for about 3 years, and then I think arbitration for the last 3 years. But whatever he would be in the open market, he ain't getting no 325 like Yamamoto got. And the argument on here is he is going to depend a lot more on his endorsements. So I'm going to come down here. Sasaki won't be arbitration eligible until the winter of 2028 and won't be eligible for MLB free agency until 2030, 2031. So how he and his agency, the Wasserman Group, maximize his income between now and then? It's simple. Endorsements. The reason why they are saying he may not be a Los Angeles Dodger, or there might be reasons that he doesn't sign with the Dodgers, is because Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto are already sucking up all the attention that comes to the Los Angeles Dodgers in that Japanese market, in the Los Angeles market. Those two guys are already kind of the iconic players. Well, here's the reality. Yamamoto seems like he's Chris Taylor compared to Shohei Ohtani, because that's how big Ohtani is. So you already have two superstars, Shohei at a level that we've never seen before, and then Yamamoto, who is only every single game in those playoffs that he was performing, was just adding another notch to his credibility, his ability to pitch at the biggest stage, his clutchness, if you want to call it. And he's still incredibly young, and he's only going to get better and better. The argument that this article is making is that there basically isn't room for three players to grab all that attention and grab all those endorsements in LA and in Japan and everything else. Now, you guys can agree with it. You could disagree with it. That's not the point of the argument that I'm making, but I'm just going to add one more piece here, and then we'll get back to kind of giving our opinion on this. Sasaki needs pitching development. All right. Basically, the teams that he said is the Padres, Tampa Bay Rays, the Mets, and the Atlanta Braves, that he thinks that those teams would have the best chance of bringing him in. I think the Padres, Rays, Mets, and Braves are all more likely to sign Sasaki than the Dodgers, and several other teams will be in the mix as well. Okay, I want to – it's kind of funny. This reminds me a little bit of last year. So last year, I'm obviously on radio. I'm at 710 ESPN, and the Yamamoto conversation was starting, and nobody really knew where Yamamoto was going to go, but a lot of people were – looking at teams like the Red Sox, the Yankees, the Mets, the Cubbies, all these big market teams were coming in. You were going to have to spend. You know, it's not like Yamamoto. Yamamoto's situation and Sasaki's situation are completely different. Team control for one, you better pay as much as you can and pay the fee to get him out of Japan, which I think was another $50 million. Dodgers won that sweepstakes. But I remember I was making the case, and I actually thought this. I thought to myself, I'm like, does Yamamoto want to be on the same team with Shohei, or does he want his own shine? Why wouldn't Yamamoto just go to New York and freaking own the New York market? Go where the Yankees are, or go where the Mets are, or maybe he picks Chicago, or maybe, you know, I'm just going to pick another good market, San Francisco. There are other teams. He doesn't have to share anything with Shohei Ohtani. The guy can come to another one of these markets and really just own that market, own the endorsements, and kind of have his own franchise. And then Yamamoto signed with the Dodgers, and it was like, okay, well, the money isn't going to be an issue. He's getting $325 million. Okay, I'm sure that he's thinking in his head, all right, are endorsements going to come? Sure, of course they're going to come. There's going to be plenty of companies out there. Maybe they can't afford Shohei Ohtani. Maybe those companies already had a relationship with Yamamoto, and they want to continue that relationship. But I think probably the main reason why Yamamoto ended up coming to the Dodgers was a chance to win a World Series and a chance to play with Shohei Ohtani. It actually wasn't a detriment. You know, he'll never get the shine that he gets under the shadow of Shohei Ohtani, because Shohei Ohtani literally makes everybody else look like they're almost irrelevant. Mookie's on that team. Freddie's on that team. You know, Kershaw, obviously his history with the Dodgers. They traded for Tyler Glass now. They had Yamamoto, and all anybody would talk about was Shohei Ohtani. That's just the power of Shohei. Nobody can do anything about it. But it did not deter Yamamoto from joining the Dodgers. When I thought maybe he just wants his own team. I don't know how Roki Sasaki is going to treat this free agency, but I get the argument that Jim Bowden is making. I understand where he's coming from. Whether you agree with it or you don't agree with it, I get where he's coming from. I get that idea. I get that concept. The question is going to be, and this is going to be kind of the real test here. If Sasaki ends up signing with the Dodgers, do these guys just don't give a rat's ass? Are all they just saying is, are they just basically saying we're trying to create a super team here? Yes, all these players, that's now 3 unbelievable players that all joined forces together that are from Japan, that represented Japan in the World Baseball Classic. And they're going to spend the next at least 5 to 8 years all playing together. And maybe there's other Japanese players that are jumping on ship here as well and saying, no, we don't care about having our own shine. We want to all win together and do something that's never really done in baseball, where these Japanese players are all playing together. I don't know what his priorities are. If it's just, I want my own team and I want to create my own path, then he's not going to go to the Dodgers. He will go to the Mets or the San Diego Padres. Maybe he'll go to San Francisco. Maybe he'll go to one of these other teams. But if his goal, and it's kind of fascinating to watch, if his goal is, no, I already have figured this out with Shohei Ohtani that we were going to play together. I already figured this out with Yamamoto. We were going to play together. And maybe there's another youngster in Japan that's going to join the Dodgers next year or in 2 years or whatever the case is. We are trying to create an absolute super team. We're going to a market that is the second largest market in the country. And we're also going to a market where we know that front office knows what they're doing and there's sustained success. It's going to be fascinating to watch. I don't mind the article. I really don't. I think it's a good perspective. I think we're going to find out a lot about Roki Sasaki as well. We're going to find out if this guy is basically saying, I don't want all the shine. I don't want to be in the Los Angeles market. I want to be a little bit more under the radar. I'm only 23 years old. I need time to develop all the things, whatever he's thinking in his mind. Or he's saying to himself, throw me right in the ring with everybody else and let me go see what I could do with the Dodgers. And I think, one of the cases that I think the Dodgers can make with him is, we're not depending on you to be the ace of this team. We're not depending on you to go out there and, throw 225 innings and we're going to blow out your arm because we need every pitch from you this year. I don't think that's going to be the case. So it'll be fascinating to watch. I will tell you, if the Dodgers don't get him, then clearly he wanted his own space, his own team, and his own development at his own pace. But if they do get him, then maybe this just becomes like the thing the great Japanese players are all saying, let's all go play together. You already got 2 of them. You potentially have 3 playing together over the next couple of months. All right, Dub T, Sasaki becomes a Padre. That'd be great. All right, let's see what we got here. Ivan, no shit, the Dodgers are trying to build a super team. Out of all that, that's what you took from me. Thanks, Ivan. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for listening. I really appreciate you listening and kind of, I just went 10 solid minutes on the conversation, and that's the piece that you took out. Thank you, man. I appreciate your contributions on the chat there. All right, let's see a couple more here. Not everyone wants the spotlight. Slee is hoping Roki will listen to him. It's really not too many articles out there that are saying that the Dodgers will not sign him. That's one of the few that's making the case of, and by the way, these are all opinions. None of this is factual. I saw too, I was reading that that probably can't even sign till January 15th. I think that's when all these teams have the most amount of money that they can have in some of their international pools. So it probably wouldn't happen till January 15th. When we've been talking about him, it's November 14th now. Does that mean for the next 2 months. The Sasaki conversation is going on. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. All right, let's get another one here. Otani, Yamamoto, Sasaki all agree to play together and form a super team in Los Angeles while playing together during the WBC. What is this? Is this Braun, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh? But the difference is they also have 39 other superstars that are on the team. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to read this one here. There's a lot of conversation about Yu Darvish and his relationship with him and kind of a mentor to Sasaki. I don't know how much that's going to come into play because Yu Darvish is at the end of his career. Otani's got 9 years left on his contract. Yamamoto signed a 12-year deal. Those guys are going to be playing in the league for years to come. I don't know if Sasaki's looking at his relationship with Yu Darvish. And maybe he is. Maybe he's saying, hey, this guy can mentor me for 3-4 years. I have no idea. But the Dodgers obviously cases, yeah, but you can come here and play with these guys for the next 7, 8, 9 years or whatever the case is, 6 years, however you want to put it. So I was reading an article about Walker Buehler and how he could potentially be working on a 1-year deal, a new contract with the Dodgers, and it might be a 1-year deal, and then kind of have the option for 20, even though this one says a club option in 2026. They put a lot of incentives to just depending on how he performs to see if he can get some type of a long-term deal from the Dodgers. I'm going to ask, I don't care if you're a Dodger fan or a Padre fan or just a baseball fan and you're watching right now. I'm going to ask your opinion on this because I'm going to give mine. Walker Buehler, I have no idea if he's pitched his last game with the Dodgers. I do know if he has pitched his last game, I mean, what a freaking resume. The fact that he's the one that closes out the game against the Yankees, the fact that he had that performance like he did over the course of how many innings was it? 10 innings of scoreless baseball in the NLCS and the World Series, 13 strikeouts, pitched obviously the final inning of the World Series in Game 5 to clinch it for LA at Yankee Stadium. Buehler was his history with the Dodgers, no matter what happens, is already in ink. And he'll be a Dodger legend for what he was able to do before the injuries and then what he was able to do in those 10 final innings that he pitched. This to me as somebody, and it's been a little bit of a conversation down here in San Diego, some sports talk radio down here. There was some chatter about, hey, do the Padres go try to make a run at Walker Buehler? If I told you guys what was missing from the San Diego Padres this past postseason run, couple things come into play. I think let's put the talent to the side. I don't think the talent was missing. I thought they had really good talent. I think there was moments where you needed more experienced players to have an impact in that clubhouse, and I think that was lacking for the Padres. If the Dodgers are not giving Walker Buehler what he's looking for, if they're not giving him enough money, if he ends up just deciding, you know what, I want to be a Dodger, but I also want to take care of my family and I want to maximize as much money as I possibly can in any circumstance or any situation, I really, really feel like the Padres should be the team that goes and makes a run at Walker Buehler. If the Dodgers are offering 10, 11 million, 13 million, whatever it is for a 1-year deal, Padres should go overpay and try to bring Walker Buehler. I don't think Walker Buehler, I don't know how many starts he would make for the Padres. I don't know how healthy he is. I don't know how much people are going to look at those final 10 innings he pitched or really what he did all of last season, which is a much larger sample size. But if he has any doubt of going back to the Dodgers for financial reasons, if he has any doubts of going back to the Dodgers because the Dodgers might have Glasnow, Yamamoto, Shohei, Tony Gonsolin, Dustin May, Clayton Kershaw. Obviously Sasaki is part of the conversation. Max Fried's been a part of the conversation. Corbin Burns has been a part of the conversation. I don't know how many pitchers the Dodgers are going to have next year, but let's just say they're going to be fine in starting pitching, and they will add to what they already have. The Padres were missing a true leader. The Padres were missing somebody that's been to the mountaintop and has delivered. The Padres were missing a clubhouse guy that could get them in a situation when you're up 2-1 against the Dodgers and remind that entire clubhouse, we haven't done shit. It's just 2-1. It's first to 3. And I think guys like Walker Buehler, and the Dodgers have so many of these players where they've been in these predicaments. They've been in these situations. They got scars all over them. They have battle wounds all over them. And I don't think the Padres really have that. If the Dodgers can't come to an agreement with Walker Buehler, I genuinely believe that the Padres should pay for Buehler. And it's not just paying for him of what he can bring on the field. I think it's what he does outside of that. I think it's his experience that he brings. I think he brings that championship pedigree. I think he brings that that mentality that was missing for the Padres. Maybe he just re-signs with the Dodgers and he's part of this staff that includes 39 starting pitchers, or maybe they can't come to a deal, or the Dodgers don't like the financial terms, or Walker Buehler doesn't like the financial terms. But it seems like a team like by the way, it's not just the Padres. I'm sure the Braves would make a run at him. I'm sure the Mets would make a run at him. I'm sure there's a lot of teams out there that are in contention and feel like we need a player like that on our team. The question is just going to be if the Dodgers and if Walker Buehler, if they can come to some type of an agreement, if they, are in a situation where both sides feel the value, I think is going to be interesting next year. All right, let's see what a couple people have to say on here. Don't the Padres still owe people money? Yeah, let me tell you this about what the Padres have moving forward. What they have moving forward is a lot of bad contracts. Machado's contract, I think, starts kicking in next year where he's starting to make $35 a year. Xander Bogaerts, I don't even want to talk about. Xander Bogaerts, I just pretend like he's not on the team and that money is not part of the books. That contract's going to haunt the Padres for a very long time. This is the Xander thing. Outbid themselves. Padres need leadership in that dugout. Machado and Tatis aren't leaders, at least not effective leaders. And this is why I'm making the case on Walker Buehler. He may very well sign with the Dodgers and nothing happens, but that is exactly the case of why I'm saying what I'm saying in regards to that, is specifically for those reasons. Hit so well in Boston. San Diego's a hitter's graveyard. I'm going to give one more quick shout out here. A year ago today, the owner of the Padres, Peter Seidler, passed away. A year ago today. And for those who don't know, and he kind of churned around a lot of things for San Diego, so I want to pay him his respect. He was dealing with, and kind of, people knew it, but really didn't know just how sick he was. Non-Hodgkin lymphoma is, I think, the proper way to say it, but cancerous, obviously, and he passed away November 14th, 2023. Man, that man really kind of changed the mindset of San Diego in sports. I think the city has been kind of under depression mode since the Chargers had left, and haven't had ownership that's really respected the city. And Peter Seidler changed things around instantly. And it might not sound like a big deal, but making the postseason 3 out of 5 years is a big deal for the Padres. That's not something that they've done. Trying to, build sustainability, having a GM that they got the balls to go out there and say, we're going to go make a trade for Juan Soto, and they did it. That's not typically associated with the Padres. Have they made some bad moves as well? Of course they have. No question about it. We were just talking about Xander Bogaerts. But Peter Seidler, for a city that has just had really, really bad ownership, and unfortunately sports hasn't been the top priority for what I think is a very underrated sports market. Peter Seidler changed a lot of that stuff. And I want to say last year, if you go look at baseball attendance, Dodgers were number 1. They packed that place every single game. They got 50,000+ seats, and the Padres were number 2 in baseball. So I think that says a lot of what Peter Seidler was growing. And unfortunately, he passed away 1 year ago today. So I do want to mention that. Really a great person for the city of San Diego. So I'm very appreciative of that. So I want to mention that on the show. All right, I got some a couple random things I'm going to get into, and then we're going to come to the end of the show. I don't know if you guys saw this. Next game for the Lakers, they have Victor Wemby, or they got the San Antonio Spurs. That's Spurs on Friday, right? Yep, they got the Spurs. Early start, 4:30 tip-off. If you guys saw Victor Wembanyama yesterday, had a career-high 50 points in the Spurs win. They beat Washington 139-130. Okay, nobody really cares about that. But Wemby had 50. And every time I kind of look at Victor Wembanyama, and I love that the Lakers get to see him coming up tomorrow. That's going to be a fun game. And anytime, and the Spurs are much more improved. They're better than they were. They made a couple of changes in the offseason. Chris Paul, whether you like him or not, Harrison Barnes, you could say, okay, that guy's way past his prime. They got a couple vets that they can put around him. But Wemby has now recorded, I saw this stat, which is just ridiculous, a 50-point game, a 5x5 game, which basically means points, rebounds, blocks, steals, assists, all over 5, and a 10-block game. Just 3 other players, Anthony Davis, Hakeem Olajuwon, and David Robinson, can lay claim to those accomplishments since blocks became an official statistic in 1973, 1974. It took Wembanyama 83 games to record his first 50-point game, the 4th fewest needed since the NBA-ABA merger in 76-77. Anyways, it's pretty damn impressive. I'm going to read one of his quotes. I love to celebrate the small wins and the big wins for a certain amount of time, but tomorrow we're already locked in on the Lakers. I'm going to give myself a little bit of time to reflect. It's definitely a big milestone. It's kind of a private club. It's certainly something I'm proud of. How cool is that going to be? Anthony Davis versus Victor Wembanyama coming up tomorrow. So that's going to be a fun game. You know, these are the types of games that you look on the schedule, and it might not seem like a big deal. It might not be, you know, all great or anything like that, but get to see a little Wemby action tomorrow. So that part I'm excited about. I think that's going to be kind of cool. The one other thing that I wanted to mention, and then we're going to call it a day. I don't know if you guys saw this. There was an article, Diamond Sports Group, which is, I guess, you know, one of these companies that had some of these relationships with these teams. They are trying to add Amazon Prime Video to their regional networks. Would you guys pay $6.99 to watch one game? Is this where we're going? Because this is basically what Diamond Sports Group is doing. They were going through bankruptcy. There were a lot of teams in Major League Baseball that were associated with them. I'm going to read this here. Diamond Sports announced earlier this week that it would be offering games on Amazon and the FanDuel Sports Network app on an a la carte basis. Essentially, fans will have the opportunity to spend $6.99 to watch individual games for certain teams broadcasting with Diamond Sports. A subscription will not be required. Is this where we're going? Are we going to now? Is it going to become a la carte? Is it going to become where instead of paying, and I know they'll always offer a season pass or something like that, are people paying $6.99 for one game? I ain't paying $6.99 for one game. I will find a streaming service that is located somewhere in a different part of this world before I'm paying $6.99. And I will also just watch the highlights before I'm paying $6.99. But I saw that on there. I'm like, are people really going to be paying $6.99? Yep, somebody's got an idea here that I may or may disagree with. No, Sliwa, hell no. Yeah, I'm nobody here is paying $6.99. That's not going to be happening. No one's paying per game. That's never happening. But here's the one thing I will tell you. Remember, they were putting on, what was it? Peacock, right? Wasn't Peacock doing $4.99, $6.99? I think it was $6.99. They were doing the playoff games. It was $6.99. I got to be honest with you. And this is before I realized that there's other ways to get the games. I paid $6.99. I paid for that 1 month, and then I canceled it right after. So Peacock got me for $6.99, and I'll never do that again. All right, one other thing here on the Wemby stuff, just to see a couple people had some stuff on Wemby. Next Lakers center, Wemby. Wemby is only going to get better. In 2 years, it's Wemby's league. Man, the only thing I don't like about Wemby is I haven't watched him enough. I haven't spent enough time watching him. AD owns Wemby. I don't know about that. We'll see tomorrow. Wemby's got a little bit of everything, so that's going to be fun to watch. All right, no guests today. Solid hour. A lot of topics that I was trying to put in there, so hopefully those topics were what you guys were looking for. Dalton Knecht is an absolute baller. Rob Pelinka, our thoughts on him. Roki Sasaki, would he not join the Dodgers because Yamamoto and Shohei is there, or is that literally the exact reason why he would go there? A lot of great stuff here. So I appreciate you guys hanging out. Appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm going to say it again. If you guys don't mind subscribing to the channel, would be phenomenal. Over 26,000 subscribers now, and we're going to keep rolling up our sleeves and making it happen. Thank you for tuning in. Guys, my coffee it's cold, man. When I don't have a guest on, coffee gets cold. When I have a guest on, I'm sipping my coffee like I'm at a coffee shop. All right, thank you for hanging out. I'm back tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Please subscribe, and we will get back with you guys soon. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day.